The Airbnb crash is coming, guys, and you better be ready for it because there's going to be opportunity. Welcome you guys to the Airbnb killer. Right now, I am in this hotel. This is a hotel that is doing these suites, but doesn't it remind you of like a one-bedroom apartment? Essentially, hotels are now trying to compete with Airbnb. So you're seeing more and more hotels that are coming up that have been newly renovated or are just new hotels that are having full kitchens like you've got here. And then you've got a living area, you've got a desk set up there, you've got a big bathroom. And then through here, you've got a master bedroom and you've got walk-in closet there. So it's a big room. And you know, over this trip, you guys probably know that I've been on a road trip in the United States and we stayed in one Airbnb. We mostly stayed in hotels, but you know, in that Airbnb, you're asked to take out the garbage when you leave, put on the laundry, do all these different things. Hotels aren't doing that to you. They're not making you do all these different things. And now hotels coming forward with products like this is just gonna decimate Airbnb. So where I am right now, I'm in Salt Lake City, and this room is incredibly reasonably priced. It's actually half the price of Airbnbs in this area. So, you know, it's cheaper actually to rent out 3 one-bedroom suites in this hotel versus renting a 3-bedroom Airbnb, and then you have to deal with the host and all the other things that go on here. You have a pool, you have a gym, you have all the facilities in the room, you have high-speed internet, and this is gonna kill Airbnb because, as you guys know, I was one of the first people to talk about Airbnb and the situation that has gone on with Airbnb, which is just tons and tons of people essentially speculating, buying these Airbnbs, and it has just flooded the market with Airbnbs. But what people require has changed slightly during the pandemic. Since the Airbnb boom, more and more people, they want an office space so they can work whilst they're away. They want a full kitchen so they don't have to eat out every night because, you know, eating out is incredibly expensive now. And this is what these hotels are essentially catering for. And you can just imagine how they are just gonna completely kill all the Airbnbs in this area because it is much easier to stay at a hotel like this. You also get points, rewards points for doing so. If you have a problem with your room, you go straight down to the front desk. There's laundry facilities, there's everything in this hotel, and they've really set it up good. There's different levels and you can just have a normal room, but even the normal room we stayed in before was a suite, a studio suite, and you still had like a full kitchen. In fact, it kind of reminded me of those 1-bedroom condos in Toronto. You know, you've seen them, they look like a shoebox, they're absolutely tiny. Kind of reminded me of those. In the housing market, you've got this massive bubble, and part of the contributing factor to that bubble has been Airbnb, especially since 2015, because that was really when people started to utilize Airbnb more and more, and it came more into the forefront. People started buying properties and speculating essentially. Little did they realize, and people don't understand that they're in the hotel business. They are competing with hotels like this, but they don't realize or understand that, and that's part of the problem because they think they're like investors, and a lot of people, they don't even focus on the numbers. I mean, you guys, I have met a lot of the hosts at these hosts meetups, which we've done in Mexico, different other places as well. And I can tell you that this is the dumb money in the housing market, the people doing Airbnb. They generally don't treat it like a business. They don't have a clue what their expenses are. They're just not treating it seriously, essentially. And even the ones that do treat it more seriously, they don't understand that it's all about guest experience. And hotels over years have found out that it's about service, it's about guest experience. That's how you get repeat clients, whereas Airbnb hosts don't have a clue. And like the one we stayed in down in St. George, Utah, you know, we were booked into a resort. We decided to stay in an Airbnb. We canceled our resort because essentially the Airbnb prices have crashed there. They had cratered. And I said to my parents, because we've been doing this road trip for my dad's 60th, I said, you know what, we'll book everything free cancellation because chances are prices are going to come down because we're heading into a recession. That's exactly what happened, guys. And you know, I would urge you to do the same. If you're booking travel or doing anything where you're booking hotels, booking Airbnb, make sure it's free cancellation, because that's a tip. Because if prices go down, you can look about a month out before you travel, check what the prices are doing, because some hosts are on this Airbnb pricing, which basically works on AI, and it's designed to keep your occupancy rate really high. So if there's a lot of Airbnbs and there's a saturation of market for the Airbnbs, you can have your one Airbnb booked, cancel it, book another one at a way cheaper price. I mean, we got an absolute steal on the house in St. George, 4-bedroom house, absolutely massive, worth over $1 million. I checked on Zillow and we got it for $150 a night, which is super cheap. It was a 4-bedroom house, but that house normally rents for $450 a night. So these Airbnb hosts, no matter whether they're in the US or Canada, they're getting absolutely crushed. And then you've got the hotels positioning themselves in this way, ready to seize the opportunity to basically grab a lot of that demand that is going into Airbnb. And you are just going to see this everywhere, not just in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, and other places. More and more you see these suites hotels that are there, but now they're being updated, renovated, and you're getting products like this, which is like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's really nice, and it's super affordable too. And like I said, you haven't got the hassle of staying in Airbnb. The Airbnb crash is coming, guys, and you better be ready for it, because there's going to be opportunity. There's going to be significant opportunities, I think, not for many years, but it is going to create significant opportunity. So everything that's happening with Airbnb is creating a toxic environment essentially for Airbnb. The travel demand is plummeting right now. I see the articles across Mexico, travel demand is down year over year. And you know, a lot of people bought in 2020, 2021. A lot of people, especially in Canada, variable rate mortgages, they are completely upside down on these properties. And we've stayed in places, and I've actually seen places where I've been looking and there is just massive amounts of Airbnbs for sale. Places in Ontario, places in rural BC, where prices are going down massively. And the thing is, the prices aren't even an accurate representation of the market value there, because nothing is selling. Like literally nothing is selling. I watch a bunch of listings and they just expire. Nobody's buying these properties, and nobody's going to buy them at the prices they're marked at. Even if you are doing an Airbnb, the person's going to basically run the numbers and be like, I can't make that work. So those properties, they're not selling, and a lot of the owners eventually probably going to end up in foreclosure, because they're not going to be able to carry on trying to list the property, and they can't carry on if they're cash flow negative. I mean, you only have to think about how people's purchasing power has declined over the past couple of years. People don't really put it into numbers, but if you think about somebody who earns household income $100,000, if inflation has been 30% over the past 2-3 years, which I think you would all say is probably a low number, if it's been 30% and they got a 10% rise over that period, that's a substantial pay increase. You're still down 20%, so you're looking at $80,000 worth of purchasing power compared to back in 2019. People are just being crushed, little do they know it. Now, people have taken on so much credit that kind of distorts it. People don't understand what's going on with their income, but obviously over time this is going to change. You're going to see these trends absolutely flip, and where incomes essentially start going up again eventually. But the thing is, it's going to take a long time for that to happen, because you actually need productivity to be increasing. You need actual real growth, not just this fake growth, which is things like the housing market, the housing dependence, and the housing speculation that we've seen. We need to actually be producing goods, manufacturing goods, getting commodities to market. That is what Canada really needs to do. But obviously that would take 10-20 years, and you need multiple of the same government, and it's just not going to work in the current environment. I believe you're going to be back and forth in Canada, kind of whipsawing for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and it's probably going to be because of the economic turbulence that we're going to see in the future. Airbnb hosts, guys, are going to be absolutely destroyed by stuff like this, and I bet there are hotels all over Calgary that are coming up, and all over Toronto and Mississauga that are coming up exactly like this to take advantage. And like I said, the price is also there, and as the economy goes down more and more and more, people become more price sensitive, so they're going to gravitate towards stuff like this. People might have paid a premium before to stay staying in Airbnb. And when it started, that was the whole thing with Airbnb. Remember, it was cheaper, and it was actually cheaper, and that's why people started staying in Airbnbs versus hotels. Now it's the complete opposite in most places. There are some places where it's still like that. Airbnbs are a little cheaper, but when you factor in the cleaning fees and everything else, it's usually more expensive to stay in an Airbnb. And no other example than the one I just used with St. George. I mean, this place right now, if you stay more than 7 nights, $100 a night for this suite in a major city in the US. I mean, that is kind of crazy. That's a good price. This is a brand new hotel. It's only 6 months old. And believe me, guys, they didn't pay me to say this or anything like that. It's just kind of very interesting. And obviously, you're going to get people capitalized, especially hotels who have the real estate and own the real estate on the situation with Airbnb. And that's exactly what they're doing. And they realize that their angle is now service. And that is really the angle to pursue, because with these Airbnbs, service is shockingly bad because most of the people running them don't have a clue what they're doing. If you've enjoyed this video, you might like this playlist here. You might like this video here. If you're looking for a VPN, go to expressvpn.com/marketmania. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support this channel further, go to patreon.com/marketmania. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care.